this is Ron Williford. Welcome to another session of Let's Talk Money. My special guest today is Carolyn Dixon-Pugh. Carolyn's a licensed realtor in the Philadelphia area. She's been in the business of real estate for over 20 years, and currently she's an associate at Caldwell Banker Welcome Real Estate. Welcome, Carolyn. Welcome to Let's Talk Money.
Thanks, Ron.
Carolyn, tell us a little bit about yourself and your history as a realtor in the Philadelphia area.
Well, Ron, I work with buyers and sellers.
Okay.
I've been a realtor for over 20 years. I love what I do.
Great.
First of all, I love history. I love people, so it all comes together. I like networking. And I really enjoy what I do. So what I like to talk about, and it's my passion, is the many myths that buyers and sellers have about this whole process.
Okay, yeah, I was actually blessed. I saw one of Carolyn's workshops, and she does a great job on the real deal of purchasing a home. And she goes down to the nuts and bolts, and then when you walk out of the house, you're ready to take that checkbook out and buy that house. So tell us a little bit about that real deal, purchasing a home.
Well, there's a lot of steps that come before we get ready to take out the checkbook and purchase the house. And there's a couple of things that really are pet peeves for me. And I run into buyers, and the first thing they say to me is, well, somebody told me. And that's when I hear, somebody told me. And then the basic thing is, the thing they come up with the most is, somebody told them they could get the house with no money at all.
Is that true?
That is not true.
Okay.
That is not true.
Let's clarify a few things.
Okay. So one of the first things you need to do is save.
Okay.
That's what you should do initially, save. And I would say if you're going to buy a house, Ron, prepare for that. Be realistic. So about 2 years out, before you start even thinking about searching, start saving. Start saving. And the next thing you should do is look for a lender.
Okay.
Look for a reliable lender, someone that communicates. The last thing you want to do is call a lender, and it could be a credit union, it could be a bank, it could be a mortgage company, but you want someone that's going to communicate with you. You don't want to call someone that's not going to call you back, because it's a very important process and you need answers.
Okay.
So that's looking for a lender.
Now,
very important.
You say save money. How much money do you realistically need? Like, if I'm going to buy a house, let's say that's worth $100,000, what's the typical down payment?
I would say you need at least 10%, and that includes your closing costs. It's going to cover your title insurance. It's going to cover your down payment. There's so many programs out here today with FHA or VA. You know, there's different programs, conventional mortgages. There's so many type programs that lenders have. Okay. And you can get into one of these programs, and they do assist the buyer. Most of them are income driven, but they can assist the buyer with, financing. But you do need some monies of your own.
Now, is there any way that you can do something without any money? I mean, just walk. Is it based on your credit? Is it based on certain factors?
Credit. Yes, it's based. Everything is based on your credit. Even homeowners insurance is based on your credit.
Okay.
Yes, your credit is so important, and your credit history is very important. Do you pay your bills every 30 days on time? That's very important, because there are 3 credit bureaus in this area. There's TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian.
Okay.
And your lender is going to do a tri-merge credit report. He's going to do, it's called a tri-merge report. So he looks at all 3 scores.
Okay. Now, I know that knowing the credit rating, what's the lowest? 300. You can go up to 850.
Yeah,
what range do you need to be if you're
at least
looking for
I
a
would
house?
say 620, 640, 680. Will get you. The lower your credit score, the more interest you're going to pay. The higher your interest rate is going to be.
In the Philadelphia market, like where are some hot areas where if I'm a first-time home buyer, where should I be looking where I can get my best value?
Well, in the Philadelphia area currently,
yes,
I would say South Philadelphia, the Fairmount area. But Philadelphia is just a hot area, period. Right now, Philadelphia is just hot. We have a lot of buyers that actually come from New York.
Wow.
That move from New York to Philadelphia. I believe at least 3 of my settlements this year, the buyers have been from New York relocating to Philadelphia.
Relocating or just buying real
No,
estate?
they're not just investors.
Okay.
These are people that are relocating, that sometimes they choose to live in Philadelphia and, just commute to New York.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Property
very
values are that
interesting.
enticing in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
What about
yes.
like in the suburban areas like Lower Marion, those type of areas?
Well, I believe that buyers and a lot of millennials are actually just moving to Philadelphia.
Wow.
They move around. They move to South Philadelphia, Fairmount area. Like I mentioned, Fairmount area, University City. There are larger homes in Chestnut Hill and Germantown. The homes are larger.
Okay.
But a lot of the millennials like not having a car, not having to own a car. They like the nightlife, the restaurants. So Philadelphia is very appealing.
So you would say the millennial market is driving the market, or is it just a hot part of the market?
It's a very hot portion of the market.
Now, are they
yes.
just like families? Like, where are families moving? Where are they focusing at?
I would say families are moving to South Philadelphia.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay.
they really are. You would be surprised if you took a ride through South Philadelphia. Anywhere below Washington Avenue, I'd say from the Schuylkill River to Front Street.
Okay.
You would be surprised at the construction and the new construction.
Okay. Now,
That is cool.
we're not far from King of Prussia when we're taping now, and I see all the high rises in the apartment. Is there a trend there? Or are those
There is definitely
are those condominiums, or are they apartments?
They are. It's both. It's
Okay.
both, Ron. People are moving into apartments. A lot of baby boomers are downsizing. They raise their families in large homes, and now they want the same thing the millennials want. They want the easy, nightlife. They don't like cooking, so they want to go out close to restaurants.
Sounds like my lifestyle.
Exactly. So they go out to restaurants. But the biggest challenge for first time, and not just first time home buyers, if we want to focus on that, is a challenge of saving for the down payment and the closing costs. So it's real important that they use a realtor that's familiar with the process, familiar with the area, the different areas, that they do comparisons on the area that they like, determine an area. Another thing that is, I would say, a pet peeve is HGTV.
Oh, okay.
Oh, HGTV, when I tell you.
Flipping houses or just...
Yes, because everyone is fixed on HGTV and flipping houses and, it's not as easy as the shows on TV.
Of course not.
Where you look at three houses, out of the three houses, you make a decision. And then, you have, everybody has money on those shows, so they never talk about the financing.
Now, how about, what's the typical process if someone comes to you and says, I'm going to buy a house? What's the average amount of houses before
If I'll tell you this, and I tell my buyers this all the time, Ron, I said, if you're serious, I'm serious. I'll show you 10 houses if you're serious. I'll show you more than that, but I want you to be pre-approved. There were times, Ron, where I would take a buyer out and I'd show them 10 houses and find out they couldn't qualify for a mortgage.
Okay.
But that was a long time ago.
So your initial step is
to get them approved, to make sure that they have their savings and that they get approved. That they have a lender. Okay, that they have a lender that they can do.
In order to avoid that nightmare situation, make sure everything is approved. What are some other things? I know we're looking at the student loan crisis.
Oh, student loans.
How does that impact?
There's as much as a mortgage.
Okay.
A lot of times the student loans.
Does that impact the ability
absolutely,
to buy a house?
Absolutely. It actually impacts how much house they can afford.
Wow.
Student loans are really high, and a lot of times they are almost the same amount, especially if you have a couple.
Wow.
You say you get a couple that are both doctors. They have really high student loans.
So does that impact the market?
Yeah, it does, and that could be a lot of who rents the apartments.
Okay.
A lot of who rents the apartments because they're still paying student loans, so it's hard for them to save up for a down payment for a house.
Does that create a surplus in the market, or is it?
No, not really. It's not really. Because you would say every time I see so much new construction, I said, who's going to move in these? And next thing you know, it's filled up. And you spoke about the Lower Lower Merion area. I know there's quite a few apartments in that area, just new high-rises that are, 1 minute they're under construction, the next minute the parking lot is full of, people actually living there.
I mean, because sometimes you ride in the neighborhood, you come back next year.
Next year, yeah.
You're lost.
It's a whole, yes, you don't even know it.
Where am I?
Exactly. So a good thing to do is initially start shopping for like resources and options for financing.
Okay.
That's a good way to start. You have your savings, so then you start looking for resources and options, whether, like I said, a mortgage company, a credit union, a bank.
Okay.
Compare your costs, compare your interest rates.
And of course, the better your credit is, the better the rate you're
Absolutely. You can visit websites, look at houses, but there's still nothing like going to a property, seeing what it's like. You can look at pictures.
Websites. Now, how much does that impact your business?
I think that it impacts it greatly because there's so many people use different websites now to search for properties.
Okay.
They still call it, you still need
Zillow
a realtor.
And
Trulia, Realtor.com, Zillow, but if you're using a realtor, the realtor has access to the multi-listing service.
Okay.
And the multi-listing service, a realtor will send you listings in the area. You can be very specific, let her know the area you want. A lot of buyers underestimate the square footage that they'd like to have for a home. A lot of baby boomers have lived in large houses, and then they find when they look for an apartment, they're used to a larger home.
Okay.
So it's a big adjustment, finding something, knowing the square footage, knowing exactly what you want. Homes are different styles. So is it important to you to have a garage, or you're okay with a parking lot? So you just know what you're looking for.
Now, if you buy an older house, is the financing based on what the house is going to look like, or what it's actually worth now?
No, the financing, there's different types of financing, different type of mortgages, and there's actually a mortgage product that's out there. It's been around for a long time. It's called a FHA 203K, and it's an acquisition rehab loan. Okay. So you can get your financing based on what the house will be after the rehab value.
Now, do you have a certain time to rehab, or is it? No,
that program has different people lined up that you can, like consultants and people that, once it's determined on what you want done, to bring it, and you can get the mortgage based on, like I said, the after rehab value. Okay. So that's a good product that's not used a lot, but it's out there, and
so
it's a good product.
So do you have forever to pay it back, or
it's just like a regular mortgage, because it is.
Stipulations that in 5 years you got to have this done?
No. It's just the contractor you hire is going to rehab the property and bring it up to the area. Okay. To what the houses are selling for in the area. So it's a good product. A lot of people don't use it, but it is something. If you see an area that you feel like you want to move in, and it's an older, like I say, grandmom house, you want to bring it up to date. You want to update the kitchen, get a new roof, get new windows. It's a great product, to use.
Now, what are some of the trends in the marketplace now? What's trending as we?
I would say condos.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think people are moving.
Is that because of people leaving the house, or just the affordability for some of the millennials?
No, I think baby boomers, all age brackets. Ron, believe it or not, I sell houses to people that are 80 years old. Okay. People that are 80 years old have been in their homes, and a lot of them will sell their home and move to a condo. Then that leaves, makes more housing stock for, people that want to move to a large home.
Yeah, because when you say 80 years old, a lot of people think, okay, a 20-year mortgage at 80 years old. How does that work?
I just say enjoy your life. Don't even look at that.
As long as you're making the
payments. That's right. That's right. And you look at a lot of buyers. I tell them to really focus on what's your desired neighborhood. Okay. What is a lot of buyers make a decision based on the school district. Okay. There's a lot of things, like I said, the square footage. And then another important thing is getting a home inspection. A home inspection is a very important aspect of this process too.
So you can go and the house looks perfect. then you have a shell, you
Yeah.
have termites, or whatever.
And you
Okay.
could have a contractor that really, was responsible and did everything correctly, or you may have a rehab or new construction that everything wasn't done.
throw up anything.
Yes, so you want to make sure it's going to be there,
Right,
so
yeah.
you get a home inspection. You may think it's a lot of time, but the home inspections are so thorough. You may set aside 2 hours out of your day, but you get a home inspection, and years ago they didn't do this, but now they take pictures. They'll take pictures of the crawl space, the basement, the attic.
Okay.
They take pictures, and that's a negotiating tool also, because you can decide you're going to take the house, as it is, per the home inspection, or there may be some things that you can talk to the seller about, with the home inspection, or you may not want to go forward with the purchase.
Okay.
But a home inspection, like I said, is about 2 hours, but it's almost like a Bible for your home,
Okay.
letting you know the condition of your home as it is.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's so important to get a home inspection, yeah. And-
Now, if you're buying, is there a difference between the finance if you're buying something new versus something older?
No, not
New
really.
construction versus, okay.
No, not really. You still need to have your savings. You still
Savings
need to
and
qualify
down payment.
for a mortgage. You still
Credit.
need to have good credit. No. There's nothing different about it. A lot of people, some people like older homes. They say that older homes have more character. So
Sometimes ghosts too, right?
but new homes have, well, maybe so. You just told them to leave.
All right.
Okay, but a lot of times the new homes have larger closets.
Okay.
So that's what I've noticed, and I've
be an
sold
appeal
it.
for
Yeah. So closet space, new homes tend to have larger closets, more bathrooms. The Philadelphia housing stock, the closets aren't always large, but I tell buyers, I encourage them. I say you can put a closet in the basement. I've seen cedar closets built in the basement.
Okay.
There's so many options. The whole thing is when you own a home, Ron, you can knock down a wall. You can paint it the color you want. You can do things that you can't do, when you're renting. And I think 90% of people in general think owning a home is still, their goal.
Okay.
I would say 90% people still think that's
Now,
a
at what
worthwhile
point
goal.
does the value of owning a home versus renting come into play? Is there like a crossover point? Is it just strictly based on money going out the door, or is there a crossover point?
I look at a lot of things like this. When I talk about saving for property and the down payment, if you can save, if you're going to pay $1,800 a month rent, which is normally for a 2-bedroom property, if you're going to save a first month rent, last month rent, and 1 month security, to rent an apartment, and you say I can't buy a home, you can buy a home. You almost have it right there. And people, you realize most apartments want you to have good credit also, and they want a first month, last month, and 1 month security.
Now,
so that's
you look
3
at
months.
The part where you buy a house, the maintenance cost, and all the other stuff. Is there like a crossover place where it's
No, I think that's a personal. I think
Okay.
it's still personal because if you get some good contractors and keep up with them, and have someone that can do repairs, licensed, professionals that can come do repairs, it's a preference. Some people like being able to call the maintenance man in an apartment, but then, like I said, home ownership, I still think 90% think it's a worthwhile goal.
Now, what other things, if I'm buying a house brand new to the marketplace, what are some other things that I need to be aware of?
If you're purchasing,
Right.
I think just the area in general. Do you want to be close to shopping and, like I said, restaurants?
So lifestyle.
Lifestyle, yeah, and that's more of an individual thing.
Right.
I think it's more of an individual thing. You have a lot of couples that, they eat out all the time. So they want to be able to eat out, and I think
Different place every
different
night.
place, yeah. So
See, now you got all these organizations that'll bring you the food.
that's true too, yeah.
Dash doors.
So they just have to be able to find you.
Yeah.
Because some of these
Can't be
new
in the woods.
I know some of these new developments aren't even on. You can't even find them, So that's important too. And then another part of the whole process is, like I said, the home inspection, making sure you have home insurance for your home, homeowners insurance. You can get a home warranty to cover your main systems. There are a lot of things that are available to the consumer. And like I said, the importance of using a realtor, they'll be able to tell you about
Okay.
all the aspects of the home buying process and walk you through that process. And like I said, what's so important is having anybody you deal with that you can communicate with them, that they're going to answer your phone calls. That's key. Communication is key, Ron. If you, like I said, you don't want to call someone and they don't answer because you're going to have a lot of questions. And then buyers should be realistic. I always tell them, like, 80% of what you want in a home, you won't get the whole 100%, but you can get about 80% of what you want in a home if you know exactly what you want.
Okay.
And then maybe 10% you can fix it up and do what you want. The other 10%, unless you're just building something from the ground, you probably won't get it. But if you want a home and you know what your desired neighborhood, you know what you have, I always tell my buyers, just go to the dollar store and get a little notebook and bring it with you, because when we see 10 houses and you say, oh, Carolyn, what did that first house have? I'm not going to remember.
Okay.
But, most of the times, and there's also nothing wrong with buying the first house you see.
Right.
A lot of people say sometimes the first, because when we look at 10 houses and come back, the first one may be gone, and that happens. You would be surprised how many times that happens. So I would say 80% of what you want, you can find. Okay. The other 10% you can work with it, fix it up, and the other 10, to get your whole 100, you may not ever get 100% of what you want, but you can come pretty close.
Okay. All right, great.
Yeah, you can come pretty close. But having a home inspection is important. Your financing is very important. Communication is key. Whoever you're dealing with, whoever your lender is. And it's a process, because you're going to meet with the loan officer. The loan officer will take the application. He passes everything on to the processor. The processor gets your files together. They may ask you for another pay stub. They may ask you the day before for a pay stub.
Why does it take so long?
Because really, Ron, not
the mortgage company.
But you know what? Really, it doesn't take. And another important thing is
technology has improved that. Right?
Technology has improved it. I've had settlements happen in 30 days this year.
Wow. 30
days, 45 days. Where it used to take, when I got my license, it may take 3 months to go to settlement.
When we bought our house, by the time they got back to us, I forgot we were
exactly we're in the process, right?
What we were doing again.
Right. So you can buy a property. It is a process. It is a process. But if buyers, they make the mistake of saying, well, why are they asking me for this? In reference to the mortgage company or the lender. I say because they're getting ready to give you $200,000. That's why they need to know that. So if you turn in the paperwork as the mortgage company, as that processor is asking you for paperwork, you turn it in, whether it's a pay stub or rent receipt, whatever. You keep going through the process. If you don't turn it in, everything stops.
Now, if you're working with someone to buy a house, is there like a cheat sheet that you give them?
I do tell them. Yeah, that's why I said the importance of having a realtor. I will walk them through the process and tell them.
Great.
Yeah, and I always tell my buyers, don't buy Apple on credit. While we're in this process, I said, don't buy anything. Don't stop at the kiosk and they say, oh, you can get 10% off today if you open this credit card today. Don't do that, okay?
So everything remains stable.
Everything remains stable. Your credit remains stable, because you're going to get inundated after you move into the house with all kind of credit offers. But keep everything together, until you can hold off and sacrifice, because it'll be worth it in the end.
Right.
So, knowing and you also will in this process get title insurance, and it's very important. And see, all these are separate entities in this transaction, in this process. But title insurance is ordered for the buyer, and the purpose of that is, to make sure you get that property free and clear of any liens and judgments.
Okay.
Because you don't want someone coming up saying that they own the property. So you want to make sure there's no violations against the property. That's L&I.
So you don't want no tangled, as we say, titles.
No tangled titles.
Wow.
Right. Because I've seen transactions fall apart because someone did not clear that something wasn't done. With this family member back in the 50s or 40s. Yeah. People have been divorced, or maybe they weren't divorced, or,
Oh, they weren't married?
They weren't married, but the name is on the house. You would be surprised at, what happens with properties that tangle the deeds. Okay, so the purpose of title insurance is that you're going to get a clear title. The property is going to be free and clear of any liens and judgments when it's passed down to you.
So what's the title insurance do? It guarantees that it's
Yeah,
clear?
it guarantees that.
Or
They do a
it
search.
clears it for you?
No, you clear it before you get that. You want
Now, what if it's
everything
not clear? That does
Then you shouldn't go through with that.
Don't go with it. Okay.
And I have seen transactions fall through because the title wasn't clear.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen that happen. Yeah.
Wow. So,
You'd be surprised.
sure there's a
what
lot of
comes
air
up.
property out there.
Air property, yes.
Where
And
the
people don't communicate
person is
because there's a grudge in the family that's been going on for 30 years, and somebody, the title just can't be cleared.
Yeah, because I've read somewhere where this is like 10 years ago. I think there were over 20,000 houses just in Philadelphia
Just sitting.
proper that have what we call tangled deeds.
Oh, yeah.
Where the owner is deceased and you can't move forward and you're stuck.
Exactly. And that's a whole nother show.
Yeah, I know. We know that.
That's a whole
right?
other show. Yes. So
Anything else?
I don't know. Can you think of anything? I'm saying we're talking about a lot of different things, but the whole thing is.
I'm kind of like in the marketplace now, but.
Oh, okay. Just dispelling the many myths.
I think you hit everything. Credit, savings,
Financing.
financing, getting the pre-approval, which I think is important.
Yeah, that's
because
so.
I think sometimes we go look at a house that we can't afford.
You look at houses that you can't afford, and like I said, HGTV, all the shows, I love to look at them also, but they make buyers come with unrealistic,
Right, so
ideas.
I guess what you're saying is affordability. Make the house
Yeah,
gotta be affordable.
definitely. And then another thing I notice, and I notice this with couples a lot, if I look at the husband and the wife, if the wife's happy, we go through with the transaction.
Oh,
normally.
really?
Oh, I noticed that. Yes, that's the truth. Okay.
I better be quiet then.
Yeah. So if a husband and wife, they have to be on the same page. Okay.
That could be a tough one.
That's a real tough one. The husband and wife need to be on the same page, but their eyes need to light up at the same time. Okay. Because sometimes that doesn't happen because the husband goes in, he wants his man cave. The wife knows what she wants in the kitchen. Everybody needs to come together with this process because and most of the time the kids will run in and say, "Oh, that's my room." And normally the kid is the one that's right about the house.
You say listen to the kids.
Yeah, listen to the kids. Yeah, but the whole I love doing this, Ron, and I like dispelling the many myths of the home buying process. There are so many myths and so many. Oh, somebody told me.
Yeah, that's
the main.
As well.
I'm sure.
Someone said this, they said that, and. Well, he said, but I mean, all the factors are different. All the variables change
all the time
according to who it is
and
what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And in today's world with technology and e-faxing, e-signatures and everything, you can do so many things through e-signatures that is legal.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can move into a house in 20 days. In 30 days. You can move because getting the title, making sure you have a clear title and your financing are the primary, items that need to be covered in a transaction. So 45 days, I can have a happy buyer. If somebody comes to me today, they could probably be in their home by Christmas.
Wow.
And that's the truth.
That sounds like expeditiously.
Yeah. As long as they, like I said, they're serious, I'm serious, and they can get it done.
Right. Yeah. That's amazing. Well, Carolyn, I appreciate you coming in today.
It's been a pleasure.
Talking and chatting and giving us the real deal
with the home buying process.
Ownership. Now, Carolyn, she can be reached. Her number is 215-235-7800, and she's at extension 217. She works with Caldwell Banker Welker Real Estate.
That's correct.
And that's in
the Fairmount. Yeah, in the Fairmount section.
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate you coming in here. And from time to time, Carolyn does do workshops, and I know if I was privy to be a part of one of her workshops, she does an excellent job. I just appreciate you coming in and joining me on Let's Talk Money. Once again, thank you for being a part of Let's Talk Money. Have a great day.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you.